Hey guys, my name is Vishal and today we're talking about Steam Deck. Now if you're an avid PC gamer or have used the digital distribution service Steam before, you already know what I'm talking about, but if you're out of the loop, let me catch you up. Steam Deck is a handheld portable gaming PC that was released by the developers of Steam, yes, Valve Corporation, and it's huge. Now it wasn't even something that anybody really expected to drop this year, but Valve just up and coming dropped this bombshell on the gaming community. In this video we're going to take a look at the Steam Deck, we're going to talk about some of the technical specs, we're going to talk about some of the first impressions that people have had with getting hands-on with the console, and I'm going to tell you guys about how you can pre-order it so you can get one for yourself. So the Steam Deck comes with an AMD APU which combines the CPU power of a 4-core, 8-thread processor from anywhere from 2.4 to 3.5 gigahertz of processing power, and it uses a GPU with RDNA technology from AMD. Now this comes bundled with 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 memory, which is akin to something like in an Ultrabook, as well as 3 different storage options. You have a 64 gigabyte model, you have a 256 gigabyte model, and you have a 512 gigabyte model, which is the highest tier for the Steam Deck. Now next, let's talk about the screen. It's a 1280 by 800 screen, so it's not full HD, but as we've seen in some first impressions, that's okay. It goes up to about 400 nits of brightness and is a 60 Hz refresh rate screen. Now the Steam Deck also includes a 40 watt-hour battery, which is said to allow for up to 8 hours of gaming performance on some games, but it can go down to about 2 hours if you're running max settings on a single game and you don't have this thing plugged in. So it's something that we're going to have to watch out for as this comes out, and if you are playing those really top-of-the-line games, it's something that you'll definitely have to watch out for because you can't play it for an extended period of time unless, like I said, you have it plugged in. Now fortunately for those of you guys that want to keep your Steam Deck plugged in but don't necessarily want to use the cable that comes with it, Valve is actually going to release a dock for the Steam Deck. Now we don't know a lot of details for this yet. We know some of the technical specs for the dock, but we don't know the release date or how much it's going to cost. But stay tuned and I will keep you updated with the pricing for this as soon as we find out. Next, let's talk about storage. Now like I said, the Steam Deck comes in 3 versions. There's the 64 gigabyte version, 256 and 512 gigabyte versions as well. Now they're a little bit different. The 64 gigabyte model comes with eMMC storage, which is embedded onto the motherboard, so it's not something that you can look to expand. The 256 gigabyte model comes with an NVMe drive, which Valve calls their faster option compared to the 64 gigabyte, as well as the 512, which is a high-speed NVMe SSD, which is their fastest option. Now apart from those options, there is a micro SD slot which you can use to expand the storage, and you can actually play games off of your micro SD card as well. Now last but not least, let's talk about the software. So the Steam Deck will use a version of Linux to run Steam, or to emulate Steam on the Steam Deck. Now what does this mean? Well, it means that the Steam Deck is more like a PC than it is a console like the PS5 or Xbox or Nintendo Switch. You're going to be able to customize what you have in its internal storage, and you can even overwrite the Linux software. You can put Windows on it and run Steam off that, and it will run very well like that as well. So it's something that you can have a lot of customization. Now if you're not one to customize, if you just want to use it as is, like I said, it will be running Steam natively using Linux, and it will be kind of in like a tablet mode for Steam. So there's going to be all of the stuff that you love in Steam. If you use that software before, you're going to have access to on the handheld Steam Deck. Now let's talk about some of the first impressions that we've had from the community, as well as my first impressions of looking at the Steam Deck. Now, the first thing that you see when you look at the Steam Deck is obviously that screen. So like I said, it's a 1280 by 800 screen. Again, not full HD, but it has a 60 Hz refresh rate. And you know, from first impressions, we've seen that it's actually very good for gaming. You don't actually notice that it's not a full HD screen or a 4K screen when you're playing on it because the screen is so small. The next thing that you'll notice is all of the buttons that are available for you to interact with your game. So you have the directional pads, you have your A, B, X, Y buttons, you have your joysticks, and you have actually trackpads on here as well on the front. Now if you look at the top of the Steam Deck, you have your L1, L2 triggers, as well as a power button and volume buttons at the top, and a port for charging. Now this is a USB-C port that you can use to both charge and connect this to external devices like a keyboard, mouse, and an external screen. On the back of the Steam Deck you have two more buttons, which are your L4 and L5 buttons, and you have four of them, which are interesting to say the least. I don't think I've heard really anybody talk about those, about using them, but I'm sure that for PC gaming, you're going to need access to a variety of buttons, and I think those will come in handy, and I like the positioning of them. Now, what about the overall shape of the console? Some of the things that we've heard and seen is like this thing is pretty big compared to the Nintendo Switch. It is massive. Now, part of this is because of the grips on the sides. The grips are actually a lot bigger than the ones that come on the Nintendo Switch. The screen is about the same size, but the handles are actually a little bit bigger. Now this is actually a good thing for the Steam Deck because it will probably generate a little bit more heat, and it needs to be able to dissipate that heat. And what we've seen from first impressions videos is that it doesn't get as hot as maybe something like the Nintendo Switch will if it had smaller handles. The other thing that we've seen in first impressions videos is that it is fairly comfortable to hold, and it's, you wouldn't expect that where the position of the joysticks are, you wouldn't expect this thing to be as comfortable to hold as it is. But what we've seen is that it is very comfortable to hold, and the shape of the handles actually makes it very, very easy to hold, unlike the Nintendo Switch, which has those flat handles and isn't able to, you're not able to like grab onto those handles very well, and it feels like after a little while it does start to hurt your forearms. With this, it's a little bit of a heavier device, which means yes, it could hurt your forearms, but the ergonomics of this thing allows it to be a little bit more comfortable when you're playing on it. You will have to probably put your hands on a table or on your knees or something like that while playing it, just because it is a little heavier, but overall the ergonomics are very, very well engineered. Now, some of the most positive first impressions that we've gotten so far is the fact that you can actually take the Steam Deck and you can dock it and you can plug it up to an external screen, a keyboard, and a mouse, and play it like it were a PC. Now this adds to what I said before about this being more like a gaming PC than an actual gaming console. Now the last thing that I want to cover is the first impressions of the screen. Now the Steam Deck will come with two versions of screens. One is a regular screen, and the second is an anti-glare screen that Steam Deck will have. Now unfortunately, the anti-glare screen only comes on the 512GB model, so it's something that you guys will have to make sure you consider when you're pre-ordering the version of the Steam Deck. So that's pretty much it. I know it's a lot of information. It's a really, really cool handheld console, and like I said, Steam just dropped this bombshell on the gaming community a couple months ago, and now we've gotten some first impressions videos from people who have tried this thing out and gotten hands-on with it. Now if you want to pre-order the Steam Deck, all you have to do is go to the Steam Deck website and click on the button on the top right corner that says reserve. Now you have three versions which you can pre-order, which are the 64GB version, which is the most inexpensive version. You have a middle tier, which is the 256GB version. That also comes with a carrying case and the faster storage. The most expensive version is the 512GB model, and that comes with the anti-glare screen. It comes with the fastest storage according to Steam, which is the high-speed NVMe SSD, and it also includes the Steam Community Profile bundles as well as the virtual keyboard theme. Again, some Steam things that you might want to get. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. If you guys like what you saw and learned something, let me know down in the comment section below. And let me know if you guys are planning on getting the Steam Deck or have already pre-ordered it and which version you pre-ordered. If you liked the video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content like this. Thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next video.